Good afternoon, everyone. Bon après-midi. Batya, thank you very much for that warm introduction and for the lovely conversation I've had with the guests at my table, but also those that have come and had a chance to speak for a minute or two. Thank you to the Canadian Club for this opportunity. 130 years is significant, and thank you for everything that you do to support our businesses and our communities thrive. Thank you for all the guests for being here today. I know there's a winter happening, so I hear, and snow, but I see all the tables filled, so it's wonderful to see everybody. Let me begin by acknowledging that we're gathered on the traditional territory of the Wendat, the Anishinaabe, and as well as the Haudenosaunee and the Mississaugas of the Credit. Thank you to my Deputy Minister, Dr. Kochar, for also being here with me today. I'm pleased to speak to you today about immigration. It's something that is deeply woven into my personal story and into Canada's story. I was born in Halifax, but spent much of my childhood in my parents' homeland in a mountainous village in northern Lebanon. My elementary schooling was in French and Lebanese language. Lorsque la guerre a éclaté, nous sommes revenus au Canada et j'ai dû m'adapter à un nouveau mode de vie, notamment à la langue anglaise. Upon returning to Canada, I had to adapt to a new way of life, including learning English. Ces événements ont façonné ma façon de comprendre l'expérience des nouveaux arrivants. These events have helped shape how I understand the newcomer experience. I know that immigration can be a powerful opportunity for Canada and newcomers alike when the right strategy is in place. My experience as a lawyer, as a former Minister of Immigration for Nova Scotia, has also inspired valuable insights that shape my decision-making every day. We are approaching the current immigration challenges with determination, with focus, and with compassion. And we're making progress. In January, I was pleased to announce that we met our immigration targets that we set in 2025. That was a big deal, by the way. We met each and every one of them. So it shows you that we can do what we decide to do. Today is a great opportunity to reflect on what immigration in Canada looked like when I took this role 9 months ago, compared to where we are today. I'll discuss how we're regaining control of and restoring stability to Canada's immigration system. I will share some of the many steps that we are taking to ensure the system supports Canada's economy and social fabric. And I'm going to start with the global pandemic that we will never forget, those of us that have lived it, and everyone has in this room, in 2019, when with our healthcare and economy in crisis, Canada used immigration to address urgent labor shortages and to support our recovery. Unfortunately, it also grew our population faster than many Canadian communities could absorb, also putting pressure on housing, on infrastructure, and on social services. When Prime Minister Carney, our new Prime Minister, appointed me as Immigration Minister last May, the task was clear: rétablir le contrôle, l'équilibre et la confiance dans notre système d'immigration, restore control and balance, and rebuild confidence in our immigration system. Attract the best and brightest to advance the Canadian economy, all while meeting our humanitarian objectives. We needed a reset, so we took a thorough, honest look at pressures across the system and worked with partners across government and the country to set clear immigration targets within a measured framework. Canadians gave our government a clear mandate to reduce and stabilize immigration. And that is what we are doing. We've reduced new permanent residents to less than 1% of the population. Nous réduisons la population de résidents non permanents, y compris les étudiants étrangers et les travailleurs temporaires, pour atteindre l'objectif de moins de 5% d'ici à la fin de 2017. We are reducing the non-permanent resident population, including international students and temporary workers, to reach the target of below 5% by the end of 2027. Nous modernisons notre système d'octroi de l'asile. We are modernizing our system of asylum. Nous observons déjà des résultats, and we are clearly seeing results. 2025, asylum claims declined by a third. We also saw over 50% fewer arrivals of temporary workers and international students in 2025 than in 2024. And we are already seeing positive impacts. Rents are trending down in general. Here in Toronto, rents are down, and the city has reported easing demand from refugees and asylum seekers. As a result, confidence in immigration is starting to return. We've achieved this in part by paying attention to local, provincial, and territorial priorities, and by focusing on results people can see in their daily lives. Lorsque les nouveaux arrivants aident à combler des besoins en main-d'œuvre, à construire plus de maisons et améliorer l'accès aux soins de santé, tous les Canadiens en profitent. When newcomers help fill labor gaps, build more homes, strengthen access to health care, all Canadians benefit. Confidence grows when outcomes are predictable for employers, for communities, and for the country. So in a city like Toronto, where global talent, capital, and innovation intersect, predictability is essential. Institutions need to know the rules that will be applied and that they will be applied consistently and will not change midstream. This stability allows Canadian institutions and stakeholders to plan long-term. A predictable, strong foundation helps us meet current and anticipated future economic demands. Right now, my department is investing a great deal of focus and energy on attracting and retaining global talent, bringing in the right people to help build a stronger future. Bien faire les choses dépend à grande partie de la façon dont nous sélectionnons les nouveaux arrivants. So getting this right largely depends on how we select these newcomers. Across departments, our governments are embarked on an ambitious international talent attraction strategy. Au ministère de l'Immigration, nous utilisons les outils dont nous disposons pour attirer des talents qui font croître notre économie et comblent d'importantes pénuries de main-d'œuvre. At Immigration, we are using the tools at our disposal to attract talent that grows our economy and that fills key labor shortages. Our express entry system is, which I know most of you know about, is at the core of our approach for attracting and retaining the skilled workers Canada needs. Express Entry is an online system that we use to manage applications for 3 permanent residence programs. These are the Canadian Experience Class, the Federal Skilled Workers, and the Federal Skilled Trades. Just as an aside, when that Express Entry system was started in 2015, I was Minister of Immigration in Nova Scotia, and I was the first minister in the province that actually pulled the button and got on board with that system. And I know there's been a number of enhancements done, and hopefully today you will hear some more. So in category-based rounds of invitations, we invite candidates in the Express Entry pool with the skills and experience we need to boost our capacity in key sectors and occupations. Candidates are awarded points and ranked in the pool based on skills, education, language ability, work experience, and other factors, the things that our employers are looking for. Aujourd'hui, je suis ravie de pouvoir profiter de cette occasion pour vous annoncer comment IRCC peaufinera Entrée Express en 2026. So today I welcome the opportunity to announce how IRCC will sharpen Express Entry in 2026. Premièrement, nous allons maintenir les catégories existantes qui fonctionnent. So first, we will continue the existing categories that are working. That means IRCC will continue to hold invitation rounds to select candidates with strong French skills, as well as those with work experience in the following fields: healthcare and social services, such as nurse practitioners, dentists, pharmacists, psychologists, chiropractors, etc. We will do the same with trades, such as carpenters, plumbers, machinists. These categories will support our government's nation-building, housing, and infrastructure projects. We will support education occupations, science, technology, engineering, math. These STEM categories include engineers and cybersecurity specialists. Tomorrow's economy will be driven by innovation and technologies like artificial intelligence. Growing these industries creates jobs and opportunities for the future. So that was first. Second, today we are introducing new categories designed to meet and support Canada's evolving needs and reflect our government's determination to attract the best talent to Canada. Here's our new Express Entry categories for 2026. If I had drums, I would say drum roll here. Thank you. We're adding categories for researchers and senior managers with Canadian work experience, recognizing that in certain occupations, many years of experience are required to make meaningful contributions. By providing a clear path to permanent residence, we're supporting the broader federal efforts to drive innovation and growth, including a $1.7 billion initiatives announced in December by Innovation, Science and Economic Development Canada to attract world-leading researchers to Canada. We're also adding categories for candidates with work experience in transport occupations, including pilots, aircraft mechanics, and inspectors. We've identified these sectors as areas in critical need. Strengthening those helps us move goods across the country and to new markets, supporting trade, supply chains, and economic resilience. And finally, we are creating a new category for skilled military recruits to attract highly skilled foreign military applicants. Eligible recruits with a job offer from the Canadian Armed Forces, including doctors, nurses, pilots, can be invited to apply for permanent residence. They will be subject to the same security and all military requirements. This new category will support our government's commitment to strengthen our armed forces, to defend our sovereignty, and to keep Canadians safe. This category and other priority categories supports Canada's defense industrial strategy, which Prime Minister Carney announced yesterday, by adding a range of workers critical to support our sovereignty and security. Enfin, je vous rappelle qu'en décembre, j'ai annoncé une nouvelle catégorie Express 2026 réservée aux médecins étrangers ayant de l'expérience de travail au Canada. And finally, by way of a reminder, in December, I announced a new dedicated 2026 Express Entry category for foreign medical doctors with Canadian work experience. Le fait de tracer clairement la voie à suivre vers la résidence permanente aide à garder les médecins au Canada et favorise un meilleur accès aux soins. Providing a clear pathway to permanent residence helps keep doctors in Canada and supports better access to care. The first round for doctors and a separate round for other healthcare professionals is happening this week. Finally, it's important to highlight that Express Entry continues to support our long-term commitment to strengthen Francophone vitality across Canada. Récemment, j'ai eu le plaisir d'annoncer que pour la 4e année consécutive, le Canada a dépassé son objectif en matière d'immigration francophone, atteignant près de 9% d'admission au Québec de personnes francophones. So I recently announced that for the 4th year in a row, Canada has exceeded its target for Francophone immigration, reaching nearly 9% of admissions outside Quebec. Pour 2026, le Canada a un plan ambitieux visant à accueillir plus de 30 000 nouveaux arrivants francophones chaque année au cours des 3 prochaines années pour atteindre un objectif de 12% d'immigration francophone hors Québec d'ici 2029. Plus de francophones, ce sont aussi plus d'enseignants, plus d'infirmières, plus d'entrepreneurs et de travailleurs qui contribuent concrètement à la vitalité économique de nos communautés. Il s'agit de professions identifiées par les intervenants comme étant particulièrement en demande. So more francophones also means more teachers, more nurses, more entrepreneurs and workers to contribute to the economic vitality of our communities. These are professions that have been identified by stakeholders as being in particularly high demand. My department is working hard to broaden and intensify our recruitment efforts. As I mentioned earlier, IRCC's effort to attract talent is part of our government's international talent attraction strategy. We're not waiting for the right people to find us. We will go out into the world to recruit the people our country needs, to connect them with Canadian employers, and to highlight why Canada is the best place in the world to build their careers and lives. Employers can plan, hire, and invest with confidence with an Express Entry program that functions effectively for them. Alors que nous cherchons à recruter et à maintenir en poste les travailleurs dont nous avons besoin, nous savons qu'il y a toujours place à amélioration et le travail se poursuit. So as we work to recruit and retain the workers we need, we know there's always more room to improve, and the work is ongoing. We are listening. We are refining how we select and score candidates in the Express Entry system. We have an open dialogue because we know that is central to our decision-making, for me as minister and for my department. We're also working closely with provinces and territories to make improvements. This includes helping reduce barriers and support faster pathways to careers in Canada through the Foreign Credential Recognition Program. All levels of governments must work together to grow Canada's economy. Whether it's employers and entrepreneurs, regional and community leaders, refugees and settlement groups, I can tell you that we are listening and we are making decisions that, while tough, are necessary in order to get our system back to balance. Moins d'un an après le début du mandat de notre gouvernement, nous réalisons des progrès. Less than a year into our government's mandate, we are making progress. Success depends on discipline, and I don't need to tell you that, you're business people in the room. I know as family, we live by that. Success depends on discipline, and without it, we risk its progress and the trust of Canadians. My department is restoring control to immigration so that it remains sustainable, targeted, and able to support Canada's economic growth and labor force needs. Merci beaucoup, and thank you very much.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me? Hi. Thank you very much for coming today. And I have to say thank you very much for coming today. Immigration, I have worked with the last 5 immigration ministers. Immigration is one of the hardest files in the cabinet. It's extremely complicated. It's something that from every single angle there is some group, whatever decision you make, it impacts different people. And it's our national security. It's the strength of talent. We are living in a world that brain and talent worth more than oil and gas and natural resources. So immigration is our national security. And I'm so happy that today you announced that with the new class and everything else. So first I want to acknowledge and thank you for your public service and having the courage to pick up this file. Probably the worst possible time between all the changes and stuff that was happening.
Thank you very much. I think you just said everything I want to say. So you're right, it does take a lot of courage. This is not an easy file, and we do live in challenging global economy. However, my job has been made quite easy. It's focused, it's targeted. Prime Minister Carney gave us a mandate, and the mandate is very clear, and that is to restore public confidence in immigration, to reduce the temporary resident population, which includes temporary workers and students, to stabilize our permanent residents entry to Canada, but also to reach 12% Francophone immigration between now and 2029, and to concentrate on the global international talent that we really need to attract. And that is exactly what we're doing. I'm proud to say we've been able to, as you've heard in my speech and you know very well, we've been able to, we have 393,500 people that we accepted into permanent residency in 2025. So that was our target. We met that. We have also stabilized our, we've reduced the temporary resident population to the number that we needed to reduce, and I know you're going to ask me a question on that, so I won't say any more. But we've also achieved our Francophone immigration target, and we are building on our global attraction strategy, which is a whole of government approach. It's not just IRCC, but I work with ISAD, I work with Department of Defense, I work with many departments in order for us to be able to achieve on those results.
Yes, so I want to push back. We had this conversation before. When the 5% target came, we all agreed that Immigration Canada, I think you said it very well, needed a reset. Being in this country, this beautiful country, is such a big asset, such a big privilege, that whatever policy we do, it's been taken advantage and they're going to be bad actors. So this reset of immigration is a nature for this file. When the 5% came, the goal was to make population of Canada flat. And right now we are declining population. As we continue declining, do you see we're going to have an ease on the 5%, or you think the 5% is set regardless of whatever the population decline is going to be?
So thanks for the question. When you talk about 5%, that is only for temporary. That does not include our permanent residency. And as you see, we have our targets that we will be admitting into permanent residency each and every year, and we have met them and we will continue to meet them. So, but we really did need to decrease our temporary resident population. I mean, when you come, and we need people to understand that when you come here on temporary visas, whether it's visitor, whether it's students, whether it's worker, that it is temporary until such time and unless you decide to apply for permanent residency and you find a pathway. Otherwise, it is really temporary. And I believe people are hearing that and are feeling that. And with the fact that we've decreased a little bit less than what perhaps some thought we should be decreasing in last year, I think that's a good thing, because it sets us up to being on target 2026, 2027.
Yeah. So the other thing that happened, unfortunately, like I had the privilege of getting my permanent residency through this program called a startup visa. Many say that's the most successful startup visa file. We hired over 1,000 employees over time in Canada and brought over $10 billion to Canadian economy. Unfortunately, the program closer to 2019 and after, way before you come in, it started like drifting sideways. And right now, everything's like all over the place. When are we going to get our startup visa that actually works for true entrepreneurs back?
So first, let me just, first of all, I've never met you before, but no, look, but I read, who's introducing me, so I obviously, or who was going to be questioning me. Congratulations. You are exactly who this country wants and needs.
I appreciate it.
Secondly, you answered the question that you're posing me. You know what, you know the program much more than I do. I only know the program since becoming a minister and hearing different, I've never worked in that program. And, you said going sideways, this and that. You're right, it did. And there was a lot of fraud. And so what we are doing right now is refocusing, reorganizing, and in the plan of ensuring that we put out a system that, number one, is focused and that will achieve the results it's supposed to achieve. But we will be holding consultations and hopefully with organizations and people like you that have gone through that as well, that are successful and been used it successfully, to gain insight so that we actually do it the right way, so that we actually target the businesses that Canada really needs, and it will be at a smaller scale.
Yeah. For those of you that don't know, like over 50% of billion-dollar companies that created in Canada is built by immigrant. So if you're talking about a startup and AI, it comes with the word immigration. So thank you very much for your commitment to bring back the program. I'm getting the promise. Like I could have not supported the, and I thank you on behalf of all the future Canadians and all those companies. So international students. I also was privileged to come here with University of Waterloo help. We know that people who come and study here, regardless before their PR or getting education in Canada after study, they're making $35,000 more than the people who don't get Canadian education. There are many reasons for that. One of them you said about foreign credential evaluation. They're earning income about $35,000 more. But international students is a big asset for our country. There were a lot going down. There were a lot of corrections happen. In some places, right now, we are so at the bottom. So for our university and colleges presidents that's sitting in the crowd, are we at the bottom right now? Are we going to see some rises and some things, or no, we're gonna continue doing what is happening today?
Okay, so a few things. One, international students, we value the contributions international students make, not just to our economy, but also to our social fabric. What we have seen, though, in the last number of years, which meant in 2024 adjustments needed to happen, and I think, generally speaking, everybody is pleased and proud that those adjustments happened. They needed to happen. We had seen a lot of students were not receiving the education and the opportunities they were promised. And so the other thing is we never had caps. The country never had caps on that. And so in 2024, we started to introduce caps. We started to introduce changes with the provinces and territories to ensure that the students that are coming to study are really getting the education that they deserve, but also that there's also services and that the communities are able to, that have the capacity to absorb the students and be able to provide them housing, etc. I can say to you that with the changes that have been done in 2024 and 2025, it is working. Education is a provincial responsibility constitutionally, and so what we do at IRCC is we give we set the targets, but we allow the provinces and the territories to select with their universities and colleges the students that they need in terms of the program that they want. And we will continue to work with the provinces and territories on that.
Yeah. If someone asks me which type of questions you're probably making daily and what are the toughest ones, I would say about anything that is like around like asylum seekers. From one side is a huge Canadian values for over a century that Canada is welcoming people who need a home, and a lot of the contribution they've done over the last couple of decades. But in the last couple of years, in particular after 2017, there are a lot of bad actors happen, and also a lot of geopolitical things happen in the world that raised the number to the thing that, as you said it, immigration is kind of a scarce commodity. We don't have room for, unfortunately, we don't have room for everything else. I want to hear what is your take on what IRCC is going to do about that. I know it was a 33% reduction last year, but also we are approaching FIFA, and it's going to be like a lot of people are going to come to this country to watch the games, and probably there's no perfect answer, but I would love to hear what's the plan?
What's the plan? Here we go. So Canada is a signatory to the International Convention, and we are proud to welcome people that are in real danger and need refuge to Canada. What we've encountered over the last number of years, though, is that people that have been in the country for a while starting to claim asylum. That is not, asylum is not to be seen by people that they use it for immigration pathways. We have clear immigration rules, clear laws. People need to use those laws. The asylum system is there for those people that are in real need of danger. So we have really worked very hard, I have to say, on visa integrity. We have anybody that is getting a visa, whether it's, doesn't matter what line it is, again, visitor, student, worker, whatever, there's all kinds of scrutiny that people now go under, and as a result, yes, there is quite a bit of rejections, but that's part of the process. We want to ensure and deter people from using our immigration system improperly. We've also, and that is why we also have a legislation in front of the House that is now in front of the Senate on ineligibilities, and that is to say if you've been in Canada for over a year, you should not be claiming asylum. That is not the right way for you to do it, and you're ineligible. We will continue to have the pre-removal risk assessment there, which allows people to be able to present to that system there, that if you really fear persecution, and there's a reason, we will look at that, but generally speaking, that is not something you should do. So now in terms of FIFA, what I say to you is, and I saw people going like this, yes, I'm a soccer mom, so a lot of people are very excited to be hosting soccer. It is a big event. It is a hooray moment. We are proud of that. What I will say to you is people who are coming to claim asylum and to whatever, you're not going to be able to do it. We are looking anybody who buys a ticket does not guarantee them entry to Canada. They still have to pass all the requirements of anybody coming into the country. So buying a soccer ticket does not mean you're guaranteed entry. You have to pass all through security and eligibility requirements to come to Canada if you're from a country that needs the visas. Other than that, come and enjoy yourself and then go back home. If you want to immigrate, do it through the proper channels. And, you know, we're being honest and clear, and that's the way it needs to be.
Yeah, very, very well said. Very well
Yeah.
said. On the announcement today, you mentioned about the researchers, medical doctors that you announced in December. But let's go for the researchers. Right now, a lot of the biggest technologies in the world, like for example, like we've seen like recently on the revolution that's happening in AI, is created in our labs, in our universities and colleges. And it is so important that we bring the brightest people to do that. I know it was like a lot of work for your side for getting this file. I would love if you can give a little vision and how this is aligning with that $1.7 billion that was announced in the budget, and how these two together, immigration and the $1.7 billion, are going to make a prosperous Canada in the future.
Let me go back a little step on your international student piece. For 2026, we have removed the cap for international students that are coming to study in graduate programs and PhDs. So that is a change, which I'm hoping that you know, U15 and other universities will take advantage of. And the reason for that is we want that global talent. We want those researchers. We want the, you know, the best and brightest in the world to be able to come to our institutions and stay. The other thing that we've made is, through that strategy, is the department and the sector will identify those talent, and we at IRCC will help bring them here. Obviously, security and all of that still has to be passed. So whenever I say whatever, we never risk that. We always want to ensure that we are complying with our IRPA, Immigration, Refugees and Protection Act and regulations. But beside that, we will then bring them here in a 14-day processing time. So we are making it very much easier for us to bring them here, and that strategy will be able to help that, together with people from all over the globe, but also those that are in the United States that are choosing to leave.
Yeah, I have to say, one of the...
And by the way, I've heard there's quite a few that have already come.
Yes, absolutely. Like also under the H-1B
Right.
that was happened in 2013, I have to say one thing. One of the greatest advantages that we have in Canadian immigration compared, for example, to our dear neighbors, like, for example, in the US or like a lot of things in Europe, is we adjust fast. We come with the new policies. We don't afraid of like take risk and correct courses. And I think that is one of our biggest advantages. And during this correction, it was a lot of voice out there that they were saying Canada's door is shut. It's not shut. We are just doing some recalibration. The door is open, and the brightest people in the world, please come here, make here as home. This is a beautiful country, and there are a lot of us who would love to have you here. And you heard it clearly from the minister that came with the new policies that is like making it easier for the brightest people here. I want to thank you on behalf of all Canadians as an immigrant, and also thank you for your public service, and thank you for accepting our invitation today.
Thank you very much, and you just ended it perfectly.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Minister, on behalf of Canadian Club Toronto, thank you for your thoughtful and forward-looking remarks. We appreciate your leadership during this period of recalibration and renewal. Martin, thank you for moderating today's discussion with your signature, insight, perspective, and humor. Love it.
Thank you for your time. Lauren Battigello from CBC News. I want to start with kind of the elephant in the room for you today from us. Why do you think we've seen another Conservative decide to cross the floor to the Liberal Party?
Thanks for the question. I've been here all morning. I actually haven't seen the news, but if that happened, we welcome them with open arms. Thank you. I'm very happy.
Do you mind just repeating that in French as well for my colleagues?
Alors, je suis ici pendant toute la journée. C'est une annonce que je n'ai pas surprise, mais je n'ai pas connue. Je suis très contente de savoir ça. Alors, le membre est bienvenu chez nous.
Thank you. Just to follow up as well, a little more on topic for today. So this change will increase the number of express entry categories, but not the overall number of spots. So how will Canada meet the needs of the sectors without taking away skilled workers from others?
Thanks for the question. It's a good question. So we will be working within our immigration levels plan. We have designed this with that in mind, and we are able to do that because we know what our overall numbers are. We've put in a plan in Parliament that talks about the numbers of the target for permanent residents and temporary residents and so on. So, but these are permanent resident positions, and we are very much able to fulfill those targets within the levels plans that we have.
We'll now turn to a question from from online. We're going to alternate between the floor and online. So I'll turn to my colleague.
Thank you. We are now turning to those who have joined us virtually. David Baxter. A reminder to please state your name and media outlet.
There we go, David Baxter, the Canadian Press. Can you hear me all right?
Yes.
Perfect. Thanks for taking the time to chat with us today, Minister. I just want to start off with the permanent residency stream you're talking about for military personnel, the CAF recruits. Can you tell us a bit more about how this would happen? Like, are these people who would be former military personnel, like former military doctors, former pilots for foreign militaries who are moving to Canada that the CAF has recruited? Or is the Canadian Armed Forces looking at trying to effectively poach, talent from foreign militaries?
So thanks for the question. So my role as the immigration minister is to work across government, and in this particular case, we would have worked with Department of Defense, but more particularly with the Canadian Armed Forces. They are the ones that will make those decisions in terms of, targeting the specific individuals and the doctor, nurses, pilots, etc. categories. My role would be to ensure not safe, but they're going to ensure that we are safe, but to ensure that we process them efficiently and quickly.
All righty. And on the researchers and senior manager side, of course, the United States looking at dramatically increasing the fees for their H-1B visas. I've been seeing quite an exodus of researchers from the Center for Disease Control, given some of the policies happening on the health side of the U.S. How much interest from American professionals, so researchers, senior managers, has Canada been seeing since this H-1B visa policy came into effect?
So thanks for that. We, as you know, in 2026, certainly on an international student perspective, we have removed the cap for PhD students to come, but more particularly on the researchers and scientists. Again, we work in this particular case with ISD, Innovation, Science and Research Department, who will be working with the university and other sectors to attract the talent that Canada needs in terms of these researchers. My role at IRCC will be to, again, expedite and process them efficiently, effectively, and in fact, in a 14-day processing service.
Okay, I think we have another question in the room. Please state your name and media outlet.
Hey, Minister Barbara with iPolitics. Good afternoon. Both Premier Ford and the Ontario Immigration Minister have been pushing for more autonomy regarding immigration for Ontario. It seems that what they're asking for is a system that is similar with the one Quebec has in place. Is this something you would consider, or have you been having conversations with the minister about giving them more autonomy?
So thanks for the question. I have met with the minister a number of times, and I've with the federal ministerial ministers across the land responsible for immigration. In fact, I think about 6 or 7 times, and I spoke to him bilaterally, one-on-one. We have worked on and agreed on a Canada-Ontario immigration accord that have been agreed to. I have continued to work with all provinces and all territories since coming in this position in the last 9 months to give them as much flexibility as I possibly can in their respective provincial nominee programs.
Yeah, one of the things they've been asking for, thank you for your answer, it's an increase. They seem to be not completely satisfied with the allocation that Ontario got for the Ontario nominee program. They are asking for more numbers to actually fill the needs Ontario has for workers. Would you be considering, or would you consider in any given moment of time, to give Ontario more workers, to increase the allocation for the Ontario nominee program?
So over and beyond the provincial nominee program that Ontario gets on an annual basis, I have also, on the federal numbers, given 10,000 extra spots for provinces and territories for 5,000 each to recruit doctors and healthcare professionals, as well as 5,000 for Francophone immigrants. And I invite Ontario to use those, very. The other thing is there's also rural and community pilots that Ontario communities, a number of them also are benefiting from to, in fact, benefit the rural communities within the province of Ontario. And there's also a Francophone immigration pilot that some of the Francophone communities in Ontario are also benefiting from. So as you can see, the system works as a whole. There's many different ways. And I know Ontario does extremely well in the express entry, the federal express entry system, and are able to draw quite a few people with talent in various fields.
Okay, we'll turn back to our virtual journalists. Danielle?
Merci. Nous nous tournons maintenant vers les journalistes qui se sont joints à nous virtuellement. Pascal Vachon, merci de préciser votre nom et votre organe médiatique. Merci.
Oui, bonjour. J'espère que vous m'entendez bien, Pascal Vachon pour TFO. Je voulais savoir, par rapport à l'annonce d'aujourd'hui sur Entrée Express, je sais que dans les derniers mois, il y a eu beaucoup de critiques, notamment au milieu économique, qui critiquent le système de points d'Entrée Express parce qu'il donne trop de points aux candidats francophones. Je me demandais s'il allait y avoir des changements par rapport à ça. Puis êtes-vous d'accord avec les critiques qui sont formulées là, à l'endroit d'Entrée Express?
Alors, merci beaucoup pour vos questions. Si je comprends, c'est parfaitement clair que nos priorités, on a des priorités et une de ces priorités est d'améliorer les pourcentages des francophones dehors le Québec. Alors, je suis très contente que l'année dernière, on a surmonté le pourcentage qui était 8,5%. On a réussi à 8,9%. Et on va continuer à faire certain qu'on cherche les meilleurs talents qui sont francophones, qui sont bilingues, parce que la dualité du Canada est qu'on a 2 langues officielles, le français et l'anglais, et c'est une chose très importante pour le commerce, pour faire des échanges globaux et aussi pour tous les Canadiens ici. Alors, c'est une chose qui va rester nos priorités.
Est-ce que je peux en comprendre par votre réponse que vous contentez pas des changements, vous n'allez pas faire de changements par rapport au nombre de points qui sont accordés aux francophones dans l'Entrée Express, là, c'est hors de la table. Est-ce que c'est ça que vous dites?
Alors, si vous parlez des points, mais je peux vous suggérer que vous fassiez un contact avec le département directement, mais ce que je dis est que aujourd'hui j'ai fait l'annonce que les catégories qui sont là vers la francophonie va rester.
Okay, we have another question in the room. Please state your name and media.
Good afternoon, Minister. I'm Paula Saraza from Omni News. Is Canada struggling to attract grad students due to all the recent changes in immigration policies, including the international students cap? Are these stricter rules kind of backfiring when it comes to attracting talent?
So obviously, changes were made in 2024 and 2025 to our international student program. A lot of these changes, I would say to you, Canadians and the educational institutions and provinces and territories agree were necessary to be made because of the number of challenges we were having in the country with regards to that. Again, we have a robust immigration system. We want to ensure that we attract the best and the brightest, and of course that includes international students. We welcome them to come study in our best institutions here in Canada, because I believe we are recognized worldwide that we have a great educational system. Now, not all of these students will want to stay permanently, nor can we keep all of them permanently, but we do want them to come and study. Through my department, we allocate the numbers on a yearly basis through our immigration levels plan that we are going to be allowing, but then we give those numbers to provinces and territories. Education is a provincial responsibility under the Constitution, so those provinces will work and are working with their educational institutions to decide on, which ones they give and what degrees they work with and so on. So I continue to say we've got the best and the brightest, or we've educated the best and the brightest in the world, and we will continue to do that.
And moving on to foreign workers, Minister, Ontario Premier Doug Ford is saying companies can find Canadians who can work weekends and nights, and Ottawa should do more to retain foreign workers. Is admitting fewer foreign workers hurting the economy?
I'm sorry, can you start that first part of what is he saying? I didn't get that.
So Ontario Premier Doug Ford is saying companies can't find Canadians to work weekends and nights, and Ottawa should do more to retain foreign workers. So is admitting fewer foreign workers hurting the economy?
So again, our mission is clear as set out by Prime Minister Carney, and we have a levels plan that is in place. And with regards to temporary residents, our aim is to decrease the population to under 5% by 2027. Part of that is the temporary foreign workers. We will continue to work with ESDC department. Again, we work with other departments. It is not just an immigration and an IRCC issue. And to ensure that the workers that employers are bringing, they're bringing them to fill the shortages and the skills that are required. And we will continue to work with that and work with the numbers that we have.
Okay, we'll take another question online.
So online, we have Irep Kassir. Please state your name and media outlet.
Can I just add one thing to that? I would also encourage employers and businesses to look at the non-permanent resident population that is already in Canada, that have open work permits, that they can also employ them, i.e. there's, refugees and people that are in Canada for, on various things. They can, that can be used, and these are people that are already in Canada. First and foremost, of course, the jobs are for Canadians.
Okay. Thank you, Minister. This is İrep Çakır with Turkish Voice of Canada. Canada opened its doors to tens of thousands of people through special measures combining public policy and humanitarian approach. And among them were also those who arrived under the TS 2023 program after the devastating earthquakes in Turkey. Notably, this group is now among the first to face work permit expiries. Is the government currently working on an extension or a transition pathway for these individuals, or are they expected to leave without having had a fair chance, given that they have never had a chance to prepare portfolios for any immigration streams in the first place? And because we don't have the video feed, I cannot see you. I'll do my follow-up question here. You said Canada's way is a compassionate one in your speech, dear Minister. Many came here to protect their lives, have since integrated, and are contributing to the Canadian economy. Do you believe requiring them to leave will be consistent with Canada's humanitarian commitments, eagerness for strengthening the economy, and the international credibility? Thank you.
So Canada, as I said in my speech, is a signatory to the International Convention, and I do believe Canada is a very humanitarian and kind country to people around the globe. We are here to provide refuge to those that are in real need of protection. But again, we also have national, provincial, community absorption issue. We need to ensure that our communities are able to absorb the people that are coming to Canada, whether it's humanitarian, whether it's international students, whether it's temporary workers of all levels, which is exactly why the last year we've also started to have targets on temporary population, which we had never had before. IRCC recognizes that we need to work to be a bit more coordinated in what Canada does with other departments as well when it comes to bringing people for humanitarian reasons, and we will continue to do that. Again, we encourage anybody that is already in Canada to look at the various pathways that are available for them for permanent residency. Some people may find, some people may not, but that is part of the immigration system and the rules that we have, and we encourage everybody to look at our laws and follow those.
We have time for one quick question as well. Is there another one online?
Une dernière question via Zoom. Inès, à vous la parole. Merci.
Oui, bonjour, bonjour Madame Diab. Inès Lombardo de Franco-Presse. Je vais rebondir sur la question que mon collègue a posée tantôt sur les francophones. J'aimerais juste clarifier, est-ce que vous allez continuer d'utiliser Entrée Express pour augmenter le nombre de francophones en dehors du Québec?
La réponse clairement est oui. On va continuer à utiliser Entrée Express pour améliorer les nombres au Québec parce que ce programme est le programme qui est the most used by the francophone population. Alors oui, la réponse est oui.
D'accord, merci pour cette réponse claire. Et je vous amène juste sur un autre champ qui est celui des étudiants étrangers. Le budget de 2025 pour l'année 2026 prévoit l'admission par IRCC de 155 000 étudiants étrangers. Je voulais savoir si vous aviez un nombre de places un nombre précis de places pour les étudiants francophones en dehors du Québec.
Très bonne question. Je n'ai pas les nombres ici avec moi, mais on peut faire le suivi avec vous.
Okay. Thank you, everyone. That's all the time we have for today. If media have any further questions, you're welcome to contact the media relations staff listed in the media advisory. Thanks to everyone who joined today.